Despite repeated requests, the proceedings of the Committee of the National Assembly have not yet been made public, proof that the opponents of the movement did not emerge with any credit from the proceedings. As has always been the case in the history of the movement, this is only one side of the picture.
Naturally, that was very disappointing. That was totally wrong. But the result was that while this decision was taken on one side, there was a lot of people within Pakistan who became more curious, and they decided that we should find out what is the reality about that, instead of taking the decision in this way that, well, if the government has decided, that must be right. There were many people in all parts of Pakistan who became very curious that, after all, why this decision has been taken. So let's go and find out. So the result was that more and more people contacted the Ahmadis here and there and demanded for literature and demanded for explanation and wanted to have more and more information. And also, large number of people, they started visiting Rabwa.
The instigation against the Jamaat at that time, and after the motion was tabled, there was a lot of anti-Ahmadiyya sentiment, and really it was to ensure that the government of that time coerced and confirmed, and basically through the legislative body declared us as non-Muslims. But what happened was that once we were declared as non-Muslims, then the mullahs, the Maulvis, and those creating trouble for us thought they had succeeded, and the riots basically broke up because they had achieved their aim. But such is the way of Allah that Zulfikar Ali Bhutto himself, who had instigated this and whose government had actually led to us being, at least in the eyes of the law for Pakistan itself, being declared as non-Muslims. He himself was, through the instigation of General Zia in 1979, and in league with the same people, really, who had instigated this, then they got rid of him, and he was executed after, again, a trial. And we again regard it as divine retribution in some regards for carrying on with declaring us as non-Muslims.
In 1975, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih III visited the United Kingdom, West Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Holland and Switzerland. Laying the foundation stone of the Nasir Mosque at Gothenburg, Sweden, on the 27th of September 1975, was a momentous event of this tour. In July 1976, Huzur paid a visit to Ahmadi communities in the United States and Canada. Huzur arrived in Washington on the 25th of July 1976 and visited New York, Dayton and New Jersey. This was the first time that an Ahmadi Khalifa had traveled to this part of the world. This was indeed a very successful visit. Various Ahmadis got the opportunity of meeting with the exalted personage and benefiting from his sublime discourses.
He attended various receptions and press conferences while he was in North America. One such reception was held at World Trade Center in New York on the 4th of August 1976. He also attended the 29th Jalsa Salana, the annual convention of USA Jamaats, during his visit. First Jalsa Salana of United States of America, it was that any Khalifa attended.
One of the most eventful incidents of the Third Khilafat, and indeed of the Ahmadiyya movement, was the Deliverance of Jesus from the Cross conference that took place in London in June 1978. Huzur arrived in London in June 1978, and the conference itself was opened on the 2nd of June at the Commonwealth Institute in Kensington, London. Literature relevant to the theme of the conference, produced by the eminent historians and writers, were on display. For this historic event, believers and friends came to gather information and to be addressed by Orientalists, archaeologists, scholars and theologians of many religions who had been invited from all over the world to speak on their beliefs. The opening ceremony took place before a packed main hall and to overflowing audiences in adjacent halls by television. There were participants from Pakistan, India, Africa, Asia, Europe and the USA. eminent speakers like Sir Zafrullah Khan and Sahibzada Mirza Muzaffar Ahmad read their scholarly papers. In his address, Huzur spoke of the total uniqueness and perfection of God, the creator and master of all, and of man's total dependence upon him. He went on to compare the Christian and Islamic teachings, and with support from the Holy Quran, spoke at great length of the deliverance of Jesus from the cross. He conveyed with great love and humility the message to millions. Thousands of Europeans who listened to Huzur's address were impressed by the depth and breadth of his knowledge. Newspapers from around the world, magazines, television and radio carried news of the event in their respective countries. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih's visit to London in 1978 provided him with a unique opportunity to catch a brief glimpse of British politics at the House of Commons. On the 7th of June, he was invited to the House of Commons by Mr. Tom Cox, Member of Parliament. In the members' dining room at the House of Commons, over 100 friends of the Ahmadiyya movement enjoyed the warm reception and hospitality extended to them. All the invited guests had the opportunity of meeting the revered head of the Ahmadiyya movement. Huzur spent some time talking to dignitaries. An added highlight to this informal occasion was provided as the House of Commons was in session on that day, and a number of members of Parliament spent time talking to Huzur. Several religious denominations were represented, including members of the Jewish and Catholic faiths. The visit lasted for over 3 hours. Concluding the afternoon, Huzur visited the public gallery to observe the House of Commons in session, in what is the heart of British democracy. The promised Messiah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "God has conveyed to me that my followers will excel so much in knowledge and insight that they will confound all others with the light of their truth, their reasoning, and their signs." This prophecy had been fulfilled in various forms over the passage of time and will continue to do so. During the blessed reign of the Third Khilafat, this prophecy was magnificently manifested in the person of Professor Dr. Abdus Salam.
I am a theoretical physicist, and we theoretical physicists are engaged on the following problem. We would like to understand the entire complexity of inanimate matter in terms of as few fundamental concepts as possible.
He was a renowned scientist who received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1979 from the King of Sweden. He was the first Muslim, and in fact first Pakistani, to receive this prestigious award.
Just by way of background, of course, when my father was awarded the Nobel Prize in October 1979, he received a phone call from the Nobel Foundation that morning, and his immediate reaction upon receiving this amazing piece of news was to come straight to the Khalifatul Masjid in London and offer Nawafil prayer. And then he returned back to home and began the various phone calls. And of course his first phone call was to Hazrat Khalifatul Masih III to inform him of the news. And I know, I wasn't actually there at the time, but my mother told me afterwards that the message from Huzur was of warm congratulations and of how this is a great matter of pride, for all Ahmadi Muslims and all Pakistanis and the whole world over, that the first Muslim to win a Nobel Prize for physics was an Ahmadi.